Welcome to the Beyond Iconic podcast, where we dive into the vast world of art iconography through somewhat casual commentary. We're your hosts, Naja
and Crystal, two artsy friends looking beyond the icons just for the hell of it.
Oh my gosh, we're back. We're back again.
Hello.
We're never gonna stop.
Welcome. Yes.
It's
Welcome
April.
back.
Oh my gosh. We are a full week and a half into April.
Yeah, that's crazy. It could be like the middle. It's the middle of April next week.
Yes, it is. I'm low-key here for it, but it's also scary.
I agree. Time is just speeding by. My 20s are
is.
just gonna zoom past me and I'll blink and I'll be 30.
Yeah, oh my god. I don't even want to think about 30 right now.
Right?
I'm so scared.
I don't know. I know some really cool 30-year-old people. So
Yes.
like, they kind of make me hype for it because they're like still happy, you know, eating out every now and then, cooking. They've got more pets than I do and live in houses, you know?
Oh yeah, that's one thing I'm excited for my 30s. I know I'm gonna have a house by then. So,
Yeah, right?
Yes, that's the most exciting part.
Yeah, and then by my 30s, my investments are gonna grow like exponentially, so that's gonna be really cool.
Love it. We are adults talking about adult things because
That's
we are
right.
adults.
We are adults and we pay for adult things because since the last time I've talked to you, I've had to pay like $1,000 bills and it's the worst.
God.
It's the worst.
That sounds like so painful.
Thank God for credit cards, you know?
Yeah, we wouldn't have anything if we had to pay everything out of like debit and the money that we make. We just wouldn't. It's just not viable.
Yeah, for sure.
But other than impending aging and everything like that, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Really, I've just been getting ready and thinking about what I'm gonna do for my birthday because I guess I'm selfless and I just don't know what to ask my husband for my birthday or what I want to do.
Yes.
I just can't choose at all.
That's adulting too. The older you get, the more you're just like, let's just, use money to buy things that we need and not for occasions anymore.
Yeah, and I'm also just like thinking about food the whole time. I'm like, where am I going to eat? I love eating.
Yes. That's honestly, like, you can't ask for more. If, like, the older you get, the more you appreciate just going out and trying new food and just experiences rather than just receiving things.
If you ask for things, then you accumulate more things, and then there's more things to clean. So that's also
true.
Kind of why.
That's very wise words, actually.
I got you.
Yes.
You don't want to be on hoarders, you know?
Yeah, honestly, because it doesn't take that much to get to that point, you just keep consuming and you don't realize how bad it's getting.
I know. God, consumerism, am I right?
Yes, it's the worst, right? But we need it and we love it.
True. What have you been up to?
I've been working as per usual, but I've also been trying to experience new things here in San Antonio, including that fashion show I went to. It was for Texas Urban Fashion Week. They had like a couple of different shows throughout last week, but I caught the tail end of it. So I saw one show on Friday, and then they had the Met Gala on Saturday, which sounds fancy, right? But
what? The Met Gala?
It wasn't the Met Gala. It was it was their version of the Met Gala, and everyone that I met at the first show that I went to hyped it up so much. Yeah. And then when I got there, I was just like, Wait. It was not what was advertised, so I ended up leaving and going out with Bryce instead, and we had a lot of fun.
What did you guys end up doing?
We went to first we went to this like more upscale bar, and there were like older adults there. It was like his demographic of adults, and I was still wearing what I wore to the little Met Gala thing, so I had my fur coat on. I had these cool like streetwear pants, sweatpants. I just looked like, and I had a bralette on too, and it looked more like a bra, but because like my chest is kind of small, I can kind of get away with wearing like, you know,
whatever, yeah.
bras as shirts. So, but this time we went to this bar, and the guy that met us at the front door, he asked me to show him my shirt to make sure that it wasn't a bra, but I misunderstood what he said, and I thought he was saying that I was breaking dress code, so I had to like cover up. So it was such a huge misunderstanding, so we kept like misunderstanding each other, and it was really awkward, and I just like, okay, I'm just gonna cover myself with my jacket, and I was just so uncomfortable there the whole time. And I didn't know how to tell Bryce like I was feeling some kind of way, because I didn't want to like be like high maintenance and be like, can we go somewhere else?
Yeah. Oh, you poor baby.
He ended up getting it out of me, you know. He was like, what do you want to do? You're not an inconvenience, come on, let's just have fun. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's go to this place. So we went to another place that was actually at the same venue that the first fashion show that I went to was at. So, and it's like this huge bar and like club thing, and they have like cool light fixtures that move up and down, and it was so cool. They had dancers, and yeah, that's where we went
That
at
sounds
the end
more
of the
your
night.
speed.
Yeah, it was way more fun. I was like, I don't want to just sit down and talk at a bar. I want to dance. He was like, you should have just said you want to dance. And I was like, I didn't even know if I really wanted to dance. Like, I was trying to figure out what I wanted. I'm a woman.
Right. I'm indecisive, okay? I can't help it.
I am.
I like the
I have to suss out the vibe first.
Yes. It went from an introvert's nightmare to your vibe.
Yes. And you would think that, you know, that chill, I am an introvert, and that first bar we went to was like, it was quiet and nice, but for some reason, I think it was just because I was upset that the Met Gala thing ended up being kind of whack, so I was like, I dressed up for nothing. I want to go to a club so people can see my outfit.
Yes. And your outfit was so cool that I totally get you.
Oh my god, thank you. I appreciate that. I put a lot of thought into that. And those pants that I was wearing, those are my brother's pants. He never wears them. So I saw them in the closet. I was like, these are mine now. I'm gonna wear these.
Yes, take it. When you have siblings, this is what you do. You make use of their clothes that they never wear, and now it's yours.
Yes, exactly. If he really wanted them, he would have taken them to college with him, but he didn't. Right. So they're mine now.
He's in college now?
Yes, he's in college now. He's finishing his freshman year.
It feels like just yesterday. We're those old people now. We're like, back in my day. I'm just like reminiscing on when was still in high school and he had just gotten into high school, and we were like, yeah, just like judging how young he was.
Him.
Yes. That's crazy.
Yes, and he's still a little bit of that little boy that you remember, but now he's a man and still acts that way. So, but he's getting better. He's getting more, you know, of an understanding of what like real life is and what it takes and entails.
Yeah. I can't imagine how it was for my older siblings to kind of look over me, because I know they would give me so much advice, and it would just zoom past my head, and then I'd look back now and be like, I really should have listened to them, shouldn't I? So I'm sure he's gonna feel that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, other than that stuff, next week we're going to Colorado on Thursday. Yay! Yes, earlier today I went to the mall to get some more things, so I'm done buying things. Okay, I'm done now. I gotta tell myself I'm done. I feel like I'm over preparing because I'm so excited.
Hey, whoa, there is nothing wrong with being excited for a vacation that you are planning.
That is true.
I
am very excited.
It's such a special time. You shouldn't feel guilty for, you know, indulging a little bit, because that's what we all are. That's why we work, is to indulge and to care for our loved ones and ourselves. So
yes, that's so true. I have to keep remembering that, you know, we live in a society. you gotta enjoy those things. We work to play.
Yes, we work hard, play hard.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it on my end.
Yeah, for me too. I literally don't do anything ever, so not much.
We just be on that grind.
Yeah. Yes. So this month, as you know, is the theme of rebirth and reincarnation, pretty much. So I wanted to gauge how you feel about it, just because it's an interesting topic.
It is, and I do think about it a lot because I know we always talk about how possible that could be. Even though we were both raised on Christianity and everything, I can't help but think that the whole reincarnation thing is very possible because I feel like in some way we are all connected, like through energy, so it just makes sense that, you know, the energy is always constant, so it's like we don't really ever die, we just become something else. So I like that concept of that for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think the concept of our energy transitioning into another thing would be really cool. And I wonder, like, I always think about, like, when I crush a bug, for example. I'm like, oh my god, I really hope that's, like, not one of my ancestors. Because in Vietnamese culture, for example, I remember I would visit my one of my good friends, Tina. And her mom would always tell me, like, oh, don't kill that. That's our ancestors visiting, kind of thing. And I was like, shit. I think about that sometimes. Like, I really, really hope that I am not looking over my ancestors right now.
Right? But then it's like, you know, what about all the times that you are stepping on bugs but you don't even realize it? So you could have already done that, but without knowing, because the bugs are just everywhere, you know? They're everywhere. Yeah. So, but yeah, if you do it with intent, it's a little bit more like, oh crap, like you think about it for sure.
That's gonna mess up your karma.
Yeah, it's all about intention.
Even in Thailand, my dad's side is very Buddhist, and as you know, they believe in reincarnation. That's like their main thing. So my aunt and my grandma, they would have like trails of ants in the house. They just let that happen. Man. They just let that slide.
They're doing their ant thing.
I was like, don't bother them. They like had a whole trail from like the kitchen up the stairway out a window.
Oh my gosh, that's so strange.
It wasn't in the bedroom, so I guess that was like fine, but it was still like really odd that an ant trail was like in the house.
Right. Wow, that's so interesting. That just shows like the cultural difference, you know, because if my mom saw a trail of ants, she'd be like, where's the raid? Like immediately.
Oh no, not the raid.
The raid, yes.
Oh my god. And in Texas, no less, all the fire ants and the different kind of ant hills.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I know that raid life. So glad I'm over here. Washington, I'll give Washington props. I don't love Washington. The environment's great. It's just really cold all the time. And always kind of cloudy. But there's no, like, literally, I walk outside, I never get bit by any mosquitoes.
That is really nice, yeah. Every episode, we pick an icon with an overarching theme. This month's theme is Rebirth. Since Crystal went first last episode, I'm gonna go first this time. And for this theme of the month, I will be discussing the icon of water. Water, to me, is one of the many elements on Earth that connects everything on this planet. And I would like to know how important water is to you in your daily life.
Oh, me! Oh my god, I love this question. I love water. To start off, I try to drink the daily recommended amount of water because there's just so many health benefits, which is your bowels are regular, you know, you are more hydrated, which means your skin is less dry, your hair is less dry, your mouth is less, like, everything is less dry, which means you're more comfortable, and your body functions the way it's supposed to. It's good for your metabolism. So a lot, like, surface level for me, health, super important to drink your water.
Yes.
And the more I think about it, showers, gotta love my showers, my dude. Showers are sacred. There's just something so therapeutic about showering.
Yes, and we're gonna get into this too, but it's like every time we take a shower, it's basically like a daily ritual that we do to purify our physical bodies.
Yeah.
And it's very important, no matter if you're a bather or you're, a showerer.
I'm one of those.
Yeah, sometimes I bathe because I like, I'll set the mood and I'll watch something while I'm in the bath. But, we all bathe to feel clean again and rebirthed, if you want to call it that.
Yes.
I think it is understood by everyone to be an integral part of all life and, of course, our survival. But not only is it important in our physical well-being, it's also for symbolic ritual. In many religions, water is used as a vehicle for blessings and spiritual cleansing, or ablution. Ablution is basically, that's a funny sounding word,
learning.
Right? Ablution.
I love it. And for some reason, I'm thinking about Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, the character Blue.
Oh my god, ablution. Ablution is basically the act of washing certain body parts before a religious ritual or prayer. In Muslim practice, Wudu, which is a type of ablution, is done before prayer. In Jewish culture, mikveh, or a ritual bath done by submerging oneself in still, non-moving water, is done for spiritual purification. A percentage of this still water is made up of water from like a natural source, be it a river, rain, or an ocean. And of course, we all know, in Christianity, baptism is the ablution done to purify the soul. And in the Old Testament story of Noah's Ark, water is used to purify the land.
Oh shit, you're right.
That the great flood, we all remember the great
purge that land. Yeah.
It was the first purging of the land.
For real. God.
And lastly, in Hinduism, the waters of the river Ganges are believed to have the power to purify one's body and soul. Water in literature is also commonly used to symbolize rebirth, change, and transformation. In The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway, the sea symbolizes rebirth. The sea represents change in Herman Melville's Moby Dick, which I didn't know. Like, I haven't even read that, but, I know it's long and hard to get through for some people.
Oh, yeah.
So
I've never even touched that thing.
No, it's just too beefy, and I don't think I would be able to maintain any sense of, like, mental awareness while reading it. I would just be rereading sentences over and over, trying to
I gotta
absorb anything.
The only way to get me to read those old-timey books is to put it into a movie adaptation. There's no other way.
That's true.
Because every time
sorry, we're young, but we're also old.
Yeah, every time in any English class they told me to read a book, I would not care and not read it. And then they would put the adaptation on and I would be like, oh my god, this is happening? I should read this book. So
right? Oh
it always
gosh.
gets me into it. So
right, yeah, and it's helpful to have it's helpful to have like a visual representation of something that like was once a book too. So if you have problems visualizing or like using your imagination or whatever, you kind of have a setting and everything to think on while you're reading the book. That would help you kind of absorb some of the content as well. Moonglass by Jesse Kirby draws a symbolic connection between water and unstable emotions. One thing that's fascinating about water iconography is that depending on the state in which the water is in, the symbolism can change drastically. Still water can symbolize tranquility, while an angry ocean could represent chaos and unpredictability. One might say the symbolism of water can be quite fluid.
Oh my god. Oh, that's a good one. I love that.
So corny, we love it.
I wanted to say, on top of that, in literature,
yes,
there's this one book, I can't remember the name of it, I'm gonna have to share it with you later,
Yeah,
But
share with me.
basically, in the story, it was a feminist kind of theme where it was a woman who had a husband and he was very controlling, and they as a group would go out and swim in the water, and she usually never swam by herself, and I don't know, it was a really huge plot, like a huge metaphor in the story, because at the end, I don't want to spoil it either. Okay, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
So there's like a couple moments in the book where she swims. The first time, I think, is with her husband and her friends. After that, she swims by herself and really like feels independent and feels empowered by the water. And at the end, she drowns herself in the water. And there's...
Oh, man.
It was like intense. Like that was like a really huge plot point. And I'm just thinking about water and rebirth and transformation. And I just think... I'm remembering why... I mean, water is amazing just in general, but like in art, the use of it is just like, it's bringing back all these memories to me, and I'm really loving this a lot.
Yes, absolutely. Water is such a cool icon, and it can mean so many things also. Like there's so many ways to use it. One artist I feel that uses water in his pieces to convey feeling of serenity is Miles Johnston. Miles is a surrealist traditional artist from the UK. Well, more specifically, he was born there in 1993, but spent most of his childhood in the nation of Brunei, which I think that's how you say that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'll never know.
This nation is in the Borneo Island, surrounded by Malaysia. In his biography on his art website, he mentions how he believes living in that environment, totally different from the UK, shifted his worldview. He learned that there is no true normal in this world, and he learned to find wonder in the seemingly mundane, tried to recreate those moments in surreal ways that also seemed to strengthen the overall perceived message being conveyed by his pieces. And today, I will be discussing his 2018 graphite piece named Peace is Possible.
Wow. I love that this is a current.
Isn't it great? Current contemporary artist.
Contemporary, yeah.
He came to mind because I follow him on Instagram, and I've always seen his artwork. He uses a lot of water in his pieces, and a ton of them, and they all mean something different. Mainly, he's trying to evoke feeling from people rather than just like something having a set meaning. But this one, I'll go into how he perceives it himself. But first, I'll describe how this drawing looks for the people listening. It's a drawing depicting a sleeping nude figure laying nestled in a vast bed of leaves. Beautiful strips of light illuminates their body, creating patterns that resemble the light patterns we see under calm water, insinuating that they are actually sleeping peacefully underwater. Two brightly highlighted goldfish swim towards each other above the figure's head with grace, making this scene even more of a dream sequence. I am obsessed with this drawing and how dreamy it is. The soft shading and light casting really adds to the peaceful element to it. The texture of the leaves are very enticing as well, and the use of atmospheric perspective balances the intensity of the detailed foreground. Before I ask your thoughts about this, here's what Miles had to say about it. This was a drawing that emerged from a need to visualize the state of mind I so desperately wanted to be in at the time. This is him speaking. Above any intellectual or conceptual goal, I just wanted to make a piece of art I could feel. Sounds like he was really craving peace and felt it fitting to use the motif of still water to convey such a feeling. What do you feel when you look at this piece?
Oh, golly goodness. I just smile. I've been smiling this whole time seeing it because it makes me feel like taking a nap, which I desperately would love.
Us talking about how tired we are today. This is perfect for this.
This is absolutely perfect. She just looks so peaceful. I absolutely love swimming. It's too cold over here to do that. So
oh man,
I know
that'd be so sad.
It sucks. But swimming, every time I go swimming, I like to dive down deep to the bottom of the floor and stare up at the water texture. It's my favorite thing to do. And then float up and see my reflection right at the surface tension. There's something like super fun.
Wow. I've never done that. I'm gonna have to. No, I've never done that. But I have like gone to the bottom to like suspend and like feel like how she's feeling probably in this art piece. But yeah, I've never floated up and like just right below it to see my reflection like that. Yeah. Like I've done that out like on land, like looking at water, but I've never done it like underwater. That sounds like something that I need to do immediately.
It's real good. Yeah, you can see it the best when you where your foot will touch, because you can angle your face to kind of see it, but it's harder to see your own face.
Oh, I see.
But I really like doing that in the pool, and it brings me back to those times where, like, I don't have time to do that anymore, but the pool for me, I had a pool growing up, so it brings back feelings of home for me.
Yes.
So it's like super lovely. Goldfish too is really playful. So it, again, as you said, it really adds to like the grace and the peace of it, of how it flows.
Especially like how their fins are like, they're like fabric, like it's like they're wearing dress lace or something, and it's just like floating so nicely. And the foliage as well, it looks really, does not look like there's like a current whatsoever. Like it's as if she's underwater and doesn't have to breathe. I would love to be underwater and not have to breathe. I would stay underwater forever if I could. I've been praying for so long to get that ability to just... Please, Lord, just give me gills. Not those nasty ones, though. Give me some that are, like, hidden. Give me some, like, under my armpit or something.
Oh, my God. Yes. Let me sleep on some of that foliage.
Right, and the foliage... Like some of them look kind of sharp, but because like I think they're just, some of them look kind of angular, but you know, I like how he like smudged the edges of it to like kind of create like an aberration type of thing. So like he softened it a little bit. I like that very much. But yeah, getting into this next piece, this is an honorable mention because I think it has more to do with our actual theme, and that is his 2018 graphite drawing called Liminal. The meaning of liminal is relating to a transitional or initial stage of process. In anthropology, liminality is the quality of ambiguity or disorientation that occurs in the middle stage of a rite of passage. So basically the uncomfy nature of transitional periods, which I think is very fitting. Basically, liminality is like the work being done before rebirth. So it's kind of connected to our theme today. It's like right before the actual rebirth.
Yeah. Puberty.
Yes. Yes. We love it. Yes. I think this is illustrated skillfully by Miles. He uses the rain and the restless sea to symbolize turbulence and unease, as the figurehead splits perfectly in many satisfying layers. This piece, in contrast to the last, does not have a set meaning, but instead invites the viewer to feel and interpret it on their own. Now, how do you feel, and what do you think about this one?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. When I first saw it, my first instinct was Junjo Ito.
Yes, that's how I felt too. I was like, this is like giving me that whole swirl story, the one about the spirals. Yeah, yes. Uzumaki, that one. The one that the book, I still have it.
Yes.
But yeah, she kind of looks like the girl. Yes, I did.
Oh my God.
I did.
I wonder, would it be crazy if he's inspired by Junjo Ito? I
it would not be crazy, and he probably is, and you know, they probably know each other.
That'd be sick. I hear Junjo Ito, despite all of his like scary horror realistic mangas, he's actually like super adorable and wholesome.
Yes, he's a very timid man, and seemingly down to earth. Like he's just very in tune and just loves to draw, and we love that.
Oh, that's really cute. Okay, but besides that, it's very melancholic. Transition.
Yeah.
And what that says about transition, I'm trying to formulate it in words.
Yes, you take your time.
There's many things that add to the melancholic feeling. So that's the rain, the clouds, the little waves. It reminds me of like a sad beach day, and you're like so excited to go to the beach, and then
oh my god,
the water's like really cold. It's actually kind of windy and cloudy, and you're like, I thought
it's like the worst time to go.
The worst kind of beach trip.
It's like it's you almost wish that it was just storming outside so you could feel less bad about it being ugly.
Yes, and you wouldn't have gone to the beach knowing that this was the weather.
Exactly.
And then like her face, I feel like is the face you'd be making while you're like looking out at this sad ass scene.
Oh my gosh, it's got some meme veils on it.
Yeah,
it's very memey.
But I feel like that's kind of how you feel when you transition. Like it's inevitable. It's gonna happen. There's always that for change to happen, you have to make yourself uncomfortable to see that change through.
Exactly. So. And that's like, again, that goes back to the word liminal and like why it's called that, you know. It looks uncomfortable. It doesn't, there's nothing happy about the state of transitioning that's going on in this picture, and I think he definitely Miles, you did a great job conveying that in this.
Yeah, and I feel like there's something with this like decapitation happening. The choice to like not include her bodice. I'm wondering what that could mean.
I'm thinking like when you're in a state of transition, there's so much going on up here. Like you kind of even just neglect your own body too sometimes. Yeah. So like now I think we're both kind of in a transitional period, and there's a lot of overthinking and trying to do everything perfect, like you said before, trying to escape the person that you were before. Not escape, but like just trying to find yourself. It's all up here. It's all mind games, like mind, not games. It's like a puzzle.
We are back from a short technological disturbance from my camera. Who would have guessed it? For my icon for Rebirth, I chose the humble cicada.
Yes.
The cicada is often known for their clicking noises, which is a result of the male cicada trying to attract a mate. They have a sound box in their abdomen that they expand and contract to produce a noise. I don't know how I feel about the noise. I think it's kind of scary.
It kind of is, you know? And sometimes there's like a little bit of nostalgia that comes with hearing them, but when there's an excessive amount of that noise at once, like it's kind of, it is scary. Like it's what's that word? Foreboding. I don't even know if that's the right word.
Foreboding. Foreshadow. No, that's definitely not it. Yeah, cicadas kind of look like I think I for a long time mistaked locust for cicada for some reason, because I think they're both really large bugs.
They are, and they kind of make the same ish noise, I think, right? Or do locusts not make noise? I think. Oh no, they look like grasshoppers and like kind of. Yeah.
But I think both swarm, so that's kind of where
the similarities are.
They fly and they swarm. So I think that's where the scary factor comes in.
That makes sense.
Anywho, the cicada's life cycle is what really ties it to being a symbol of rebirth. The cicada's life has 3 stages: the egg, nymph, and then the adult.
Yes.
So when a cicada hatches from its egg, the young cicada nymph digs itself into the ground to suckle off the teat of plant roots.
The teat. Love that word.
Nymphs spend a majority of their lives underground until they are ready to molt and emerge as an adult. They are described at this point of their lives, the nymph stage, as big, juicy, and cannot fly. So they are wingless at this point.
Juicy.
Their developmental... I know. They're pretty sizable bugs. Mm-hmm. They're like... they could fit in the palm of your hand. So imagine being a flightless, fat bug, just ripe for any wandering bird or other predator.
Oh man. It reminds me of the intro to the Bee Movie where they're like, bees are too fat to fly, so why can they fly?
They got those donkers.
Them donkadonks.
Those dumpy trucks.
Them dumpy. Oh my god. But yeah, I've never held one of those in my hand, nor would I want to.
I know. And like, they say the cicada's sound is as piercing as a lawnmower can be.
Jeez, can be.
Their developmental stage, in which they are underground, varies from cicada to cicada. Usually within a brood, they will have a similar kind of emerging time, but that time can vary from 2 years to, get this, 17 years.
Wow.
Underground.
Wow.
Or like in hiding. Yeah.
Dang, that's a long time.
I know, and I think I've heard of this happening before. There's some people in this world who like to track cicada broods that are like have hidden away for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. So if you're into it, I think there's one called Brood X, and you can look it up.
Yes, if you're into that.
But yeah. Once a cicada is ready to go from a nymph to an adult, it emerges from the ground and crawls up a tree to a high place where it will molt. And if you don't know what molting looks like, think of like a snake shedding its skin, except it's like a cicada shell. And it's really peculiar looking because it looks like another small cicada, but like it's like weird. It looks like a exact replica, except the new one is shinier and prettier and has wings. Like, it's really cool.
That's so weird that, like, you know, it doesn't just look like a shell, like a grayed shell. Like, it still looks like it. So like it duplicated itself, but it didn't actually do that.
Yeah, you can still see the split, but like there's like a thin layer where their eyes were. Like, everything is like kind of there, but it's like their nymph stage was more brown and wingless. And then you see like the soft adult pop out, and it's all green and beautiful. The wings come out. So just imagine that transformation, and you really get to understand why this is a really great symbol for rebirth. Right. You know?
Nice.
Yes! It makes me think about like the 17 years thing. It being as long as 17 years really made me think about humans and how that's even we take more kind of that long to develop and become an adult.
Yes, and oh my gosh, and we all have like multiple stages of growing up and, you know, transitioning, but 17 is really where it starts. Like, it's just you're not even at all the same person that you were. Well, most people are, but you know, that's when you're really trying to find yourself, and like you start to change into your own person.
Mature.
Yes. Into a beautiful green cicada.
With wings.
With wings to fly.
Cicada, fly. And then yell at people.
Yes.
With your abdomen.
'Tis your lifelong duty.
Yes. Interestingly, in Chinese culture, the cicada is revered as, of course, a symbol of resurrection and rebirth, but also immortality and a symbol of high status. And it dates back to ancient times.
Nice.
The reason why they feel this way is because, as I mentioned, they only drink the dew of plants. So, like, that's the purest of the pure. Little water.
Oh
water.
my God.
We're back to
Whoa!
water again.
How, we can't keep getting away with this. We're unintentionally connecting our icons.
Yes, it's full circle. It's always
Love
been
it.
full
That's
circle.
so. I'm in love with
Rebirth.
that.
Rebirth.
I love both of us so much.
Yes.
The
Its diet is pure. It's the purest of the pure, the dew from plants.
Yes.
And when they reach full maturity and they go up into the trees, they are perched at a very high level, looking down upon other things. So that's also why it's kind of like high status, like they're literally high and looking down upon other people.
Right.
And they also have these huge eyes that are sharp and bulging.
Sharp and bulging.
Sharp and bulging. They're making sure no predators are out to get them. Because they're still fat and juicy. But
Yes, they're very vulnerable.
They're vulnerable little babies. They just want to mate. That's why they're making those noises. They're like, all right, we're adults now. Let's get it on. I am huge.
I am primed and slimy and ready.
They didn't really look that slimy, if I'm being honest. They just looked shiny. Shiny and probably like
They just look
hard,
shiny. Like they glisten. Yeah.
They look hard shelled like a M&M.
Oh, nice. Yes, very shiny.
Delicious.
Crunch. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Having a really pure diet, being at like that tall height and having those perceptive eyes, those qualities garnered the favor of the regal, high-class folk of the Chinese culture. So much so that they would incorporate golden cicadas into their headgear, which signaled refinement, modesty, and full awareness of one's surroundings. During the Han Dynasty, they would carve jade into the shape of cicadas and place them on the tongues of the corpses in hopes for resurrection.
That's very eccentric and I love it.
I love it. Yes, it makes me kind of think of Egyptian culture where they would make sure that, like the whole mummification thing, it made me think about that and how it was really important to have all of what that person was in one place.
Yes.
Like when they took out the brain and the organs and everything, they still kept it nearby because they believed if any piece of you was gone, then you kind of wouldn't successfully make it back immortally.
Right. Yeah, that is
really
very similar.
The piece I've chosen to look at is Jasper Johns' Cicada series. Jasper Johns is an artist I remembered from art history class, which may ring true for you as well.
It does.
Do you like him?
I remember first seeing his work and being like, it's another one of these fucking
These minimalists
out here with their easy concepts, but
hey,
now that right, I know, it's just pure ignorance back then. You know, there's a lot more that goes into his work and craft, and there's a lot of symbolism to be had. So I'm very excited to hear more about this man.
Oh, you're gonna... It's definitely interesting, this guy. So I will get into him. Off the top of my head, I remembered him doing that one American flag piece where it's like stacked up on top of each other, and then there's one with a target, a bullseye with primary colors. I didn't want to pass up a chance to analyze him because I feel like I've passed by his work so many times and I've never really gotten to know like what this man's thinking process is.
Right.
Because I honestly only used his pieces for a sketchbook project where we were supposed to like redraw famous art pieces, and his were so simple that I was like, I want to do Jasper John. Look at that bullseye. So easy.
Oh my god, easy A.
Easy A. I got a really good grade on that.
Nice, love it.
But anyways, let's see. During the rise of abstract expressionism, right? Expressionism? Grew the minimalist era where everyone was questioning what art was. For Johns, the act of creating art was his art. That was his meaning for art. He led the popularization of using simplistic motifs in the serious art world and making it a part of fine art. He focused on the process, and he preferred subjects that were simple and concrete, that had a certain amount of literalness to it. He liked messing around with depth and playing with the idea of showing repeating motifs and forms in different ways. So when you look at a library of his pieces, you'll see similar concepts in different colors or different layouts. That was his whole thing of like really sticking with a trail and seeing how far he can push it and see what that produces, and developing that one idea. Looking at the cicada piece itself fully zoomed out, because I am a pleb viewing this from my digital device and can't afford to view this in person.
Same.
Is a series of colorful cross-hatched marks. With the switching of hatch direction comes a different color. Down the vertical center of the piece are primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. And on the outer edges is secondary colors, orange, green, and violet, all being jewel tones. If you zoom in, you will see that there are some printed words between the lines. Reading between the lines, if you will. Oh my God. You actually can't really read anything. And honestly, I feel like it probably has no meaning, and it's just newsprint, and it gives that texture. But anyways, you can see that the lines aren't quite clean, and that there's some layering effect between the colors themselves, the white between the lines, and the newsprint underneath that you see peeking through. The cross-hatching motif, according to Jasper Johns, came from a pattern of slanted lines on the diagonal, a sort of cross-hatching that he glimpsed on a car that quickly passed him on the Long Island Expressway. Jasper Johns recalls, "I only saw it for a second, but knew immediately that I was going to use it. It had all the qualities that interested me: literalness, repetitiveness, and obsessive quality, order with dumbness, and the possibility of a complete lack of meaning." When it comes to the meaning behind the name cicada, John says the cicada title has to do with the image of something bursting through its skin, which is exactly what cicadas do. You have all those shells where the back splits and they've emerged, and basically that kind of splitting form is what I tried to suggest. And just like that, Johns has given me the answers in true Jasper Johns literal fashion. So the meaning is very to the point and literal.
Yes.
But in a way, his art was a rebirth and rejuvenation of this entirely different path of looking at art that people could take away from and be inspired to create their own art for art's sake.
Yes.
The process itself is what art should be. And I thought that was like, I was kind of dumbfounded, because I was like, oh my God, what could cicada mean? And he just gave it to me.
Right.
Don't you just
love when that happens? You don't have to do any kind of flips and dips to try to like find any sort of meaning. He's just like, nah, here you go, on a silver platter.
Yep. This is all you gotta, there's nothing more to it. But if you want to glean something, you are more than welcome to do so. But this is literally what it is.
Yes, I appreciate him doing that, because I think he really connected the nature of cicadas and what his process was in this piece like so perfectly. And there's no room for like, misinterpretation. That's exactly what he did, and it's just, I wish I could see it in person, because I can tell now
Right.
that there's a bunch of like layers that we cannot see with it being digitally reprocessed. Like I can see the hints of everything, but you know, I'm sure it's like really fun to experience in person.
Yeah. I'm sure, like, too, you could see probably, what is it called? Impasto? The impasto effect between each layer. I'd be
Yes.
fascinated to see, like, and appreciate the process that he went through to create the art.
Right.
Because he's still alive. He's still
man,
breathing out
really?
there. Isn't that crazy?
That is
Contemporary
crazy.
artist.
How old is he right now?
I think he's like 91.
Oh man,
something.
that's such a blessing.
Yeah, it would be cool to, like, be able to see it in his time.
Yeah.
I think he's either 71 or 91. I'm really
Oh my god,
really
that's a
bad
big
with numbers.
Crystal, that's a big jump.
I'm really bad with similar looking numbers.
I can't blame you on that at all. But yeah, I love
It's
this.
gotta be 90. I feel like it's gotta be 90.
It's gotta be 90.
Right? Math kind of tells me it's pushing towards 90. But
Yeah.
Jasper Johns once said, "To be an artist, you have to give up everything, including the desire to be a good artist." And I don't know, I feel that's like such a hard take on like the hierarchy that one might have in terms of like, this is a good artist and this is a bad artist.
Yes.
Does this imply that to be an artist, do you give up a metric in what makes art good or bad? Do you think he is correct in saying that?
When I hear this quote, for some reason, I kind of hear it as a way of saying you have to kind of release whatever it is you think constitutes as bad art, or you have to like be open to making bad art in whatever your standards are in order to learn more and grow as an artist. So, and I kind of felt that because I did read it before we started recording, and I was ruminating on this, and I was just like, okay, that goes back to, you know, as an artist, you kind of have to forfeit being perfect, because without you can't always be perfect whenever you're learning or just experimenting, because that's exactly what it is. It's experimenting. You can experiment with something and then make something that you think is bad, but still be appreciative of yourself, like trying to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So back to your question, does it imply that there is no metric to what makes art good or bad? I think yes. And I think a good example of this is also music, because there are so many different types of music that one person might think is bad, but another person thinks it's amazing, and it could be like it goes against what traditionally makes a song good. And even that on itself, like, you could even think that it sounds bad, but you could also appreciate that someone made this and be like, wow, like they were brave enough to make that and risk people hearing it and thinking it's bad, you know, but it still exists.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, I personally, I don't quite enjoy looking at Cicada, and that was kind of the reason why I chose it, because I wanted to see if I could appreciate it more than for just how it looks, you know. And I did find myself appreciating like the way he structures it, the way that he's able to play with concepts, and in the end, like, it doesn't really matter what I think,
Right.
because what's important to him is just creating the art and being able to process and experiment and explore the path in his mind that came from a glimpse that he saw passing on the road, and being able to turn that into art, into this multi-layered concept. Good for him, man. Like, that's so inspiring to be able to not give a shit about
it really is very inspiring.
Think whatsoever. He's just out there doing his own thing.
Yes,
you know?
as people who generally care a lot about how good something looks and how like well executed it is almost very impressive that, you know, people are able to do what he does to just make it without, you know, giving it much thought, but as giving it much thought in terms of like how other people are going to perceive it. Very impressive man. I'm happy you talked about him because again, he's another art history artist that I've seen once. I know you've seen him a lot, but actually this is the first time I'm seeing him again. So yeah, I'm happy that you chose him.
I know, and
As
it's like
always.
I feel like it's gonna be a trend of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, of me finally getting the chance to dive into stuff that I've seen before or people that I've seen before.
Yes.
And actually like go beyond the artist and that icon, because you got to give things chances and let yourself learn so that you can learn from what they're doing, because clearly, obviously, this man is a famous person and his art to this day still garners like millions of dollars of net worth and what have you. So there's gotta be some value that I can take away from him, even though I don't necessarily like what his art looks like. But again, it does not matter.
Yes, see, and that's really good. That's really, really good to, you know, be open to analyzing something that might not really engage you, or something that you wouldn't buy for yourself or have in your own home, but you care enough about it, or, you know, you're interested enough to learn more about it, rather than just, you know, be like, oh, I love this so much and blah blah blah, you know. It's more than that. I like that a lot. That gives me perspective too, because I tend to just gravitate towards people who I find interesting, because of how their art looks or like whatever. But, you know, maybe I need to go branch off into the people who I actually, artists that I actually don't like, but talk about them anyway in a non-biased way. That's awesome.
That makes me think of the Rothko Chapel, because God.
Oh my God, yes, I remember the chapel.
Maybe I gotta look into that. That was a really good one.
Yes, that'd be so great.
Oh my God. But I was gonna say, as you were saying, something about like being able to branch out. I'm definitely making the intentional effort to do that, and perhaps that is because I am trying to transition myself. like the drawing that you showed, I'm making myself uncomfortable.
Yes.
To have that growth within myself and be able to appreciate more things.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because I feel we just live in this society where people are trying to make things out to be black and white, when really it's like 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, like nuance is not very popular at this point in time. So we gotta have more of that, because it's so important in terms of like discourse and analysis. Like you gotta have nuance, or it's just like
new perspective.
Exactly.
And I think I remember when we were doing that random marketing thing, that marketing challenge thing, we did this, we were doing a marketing campaign competition in which multiple teams were researching Gen Z and how to make Mattress Firm more appealing. Oh yes,
it was the AAF Houston conference.
Yes, it was. Yeah. That was a good time. The year.
Ours was so bad, but you know, it was really fun to work within a group and the whole marketing team, and being the one that has to like figure out the aesthetics of it.
Yes.
It was really fun.
I was gonna say, I think in that challenge, there was a feedback or like advice that it's really important on a team to have different perspectives, and having those different perspectives causing discourse and a discussion would result in more, what's the word? Innovative. It would create more innovative, I'm using all the buzzwords.
I love it.
Innovative ideas, which would mean it's more successful. So.
Right. That makes sense, though, you know. That's great advice.
Put yourself in different perspectives, you know, see it from different angles. That will definitely give you more material to think on in making the best choices that you can, just in general. Right.
Very wise words from Crystal Lee.
Yes, that is me. Oh my god, any ending thoughts besides that though?
This was a very fun theme to explore.
Yes.
I do want to say that it was not better than the Women's Month, so just to say, for me at least, you know, that one was particularly amazing for many reasons, but I did love this theme as well. I think we chose some really good art to analyze and share with all of our viewers and listeners.
Yeah, and if you haven't listened to the women's episode, please we
go
would love
check
if
it
you
out.
could give it a listen. I posted that out on a very hectic point in my week, so I still have to post about it and share all that stuff on our page, but by the time you're hearing this, it should already be up on our Instagram. We have a whole link area in our highlights on Instagram for you to easily click and find our YouTube videos. The link in the description is usually the most recent episode, so give that a click and see where we're at, because who knows where in the point of your life that you are listening to this particular episode. We could be 3 seasons deep and you are listening, and that'll be amazing.
Yes, and we appreciate you taking out time in your day or night to listen to us ramble about art that we love and hate.
Yes, and I appreciate Naja for taking the time out of her weekend to, you know, sit down and catch up and, you know, talk about cool art.
Yes, it's always a treat. I always look forward to it, so. And then, you know, we always end up at the end of each episode just feeling fulfilled and happy, and that we've finally had a conversation about what we've been researching, you know? Yeah. It's the build up and then the crescendo.
Yes, and it's also that untapped creative juices that we don't really get to use outside of work.
Very
that
true.
Just is building up.
Yes, and we
don't know what to do with it. And this is what we've chosen to spend our creative juices on.
Yes, and it's very much worth.
Yes.
Yay. All right. Yay. So now that we're at the end, it's time to plug our next episode. Tune in next time for the next theme in May, which is beauty/perfection, and with a focus on Asian artists, Asian persuasion.
Go Asian people! Woo!
Yes, and it will be Crystal, your birthday.
It's gonna be my birthday month.
Yes,
woo!
This will be a very special episode for her and both of us. So. Yes. That we'll have to figure out something special to do for that one for your birthday month.
Yeah, let's have some little hats on.
Yes, okay, funky hats. You set the terms. It's your birthday month.
Oh my gosh, yay. Yes, and we're gonna be trying to find some Asian artists. Who knows how hard that's gonna be? You know how looked down upon art is in the Asian community.
That's true. That there's
any kind of stability. What?
Yeah. That's so true. That's so true. But there's a rich art history in Asian culture, so I'm really excited to tap into that.
Oh yeah, you're so right. What's his name? It's my brain said Hiroshima. That is not what I should be thinking. Oh Lord. What is his name?
That's hilarious.
Who did The Wave?
I know who you're talking about. I think it's well. You know what? I have an iPad in front of me. I'm gonna do this right now. Hokusai.
Hokusai!
Yes.
Oh, God, I love Hokusai's.
He has amazing.
Wave.
He was woodblock print. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Print making. Asian art history is like that's the birth of the woodblock, and all of the it had a huge impact on screen printing today. So that is, we might get into that
monumental.
We might get into that next episode, because that is definitely.
Naja is a big fan of screen prints and that whole process.
Yes, so I'm super excited now.
Yay! Oh yes, get hyped, girl. You gotta start writing things up.
Yes, ma'am. All right. We will see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for listening and sticking with us. Again, we were very tired, so if this was a little bit choppy and hectic, then we apologize. But
I'll say by the end of this, I feel rejuvenated.
Yes, I feel rebirthed, and then I'm gonna go take a bath and then feel rebirthed again.
Even more. Thank you for listening again. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and whatever else we throw at you at Beyond Iconic Podcast. #BipDoodles.
We post regular podcast updates and fun illustrations and even pictures sometimes of sneak peeks of our next episode. So if you want to see that and have some community interaction with us, please follow us. Do it now. Please make us happy.
Please join our cult. This is not a cult.
Disclaimer, this is not a cult.